Hi everyone. So I did my lesson on fluency and more specifically on expression of text. And I titled my lesson All About Expression, and it is for second grade. The standard that I followed is read with accuracy and fluency to support comprehension, which also has a sub standard of read on level text orally with accuracy, appropriate rate, and expression on successive reading, and read on level text with purpose and understanding. So out of this, I specifically chose to focus on the expression part of the standard. For my objectives, I chose before the lesson, students will be able to identify varying punctuation marks and uses of punctuation marks when asked of them using true and false cards. During the lesson, the students will be able to correctly label and describe each punctuation mark on the given worksheet. Also, during the lesson, the students will be able to write the correct punctuation mark in a sentence on a worksheet as the teacher reads them aloud. After the lesson, when given a worksheet with 5 sentences, the students will be able to identify which punctuation mark is to use. And after the lesson, students will be able to read 5 sentences with proper expression to the teacher. For my materials, I chose true-false hold-up cards, or I'm going to use true-false hold-up cards, punctuation label worksheet, punctuation practice worksheet, and assessment rating sheet. Before the teaching starts, I will write on the board a period, an exclamation point, a question mark, and I will not be using the comma. I need to edit that and take that one out. But I will write that on the board, and I will ask the students what these marks are called, not each individually, but as a whole. And I will have them think about it for 5 seconds so that they can come up with an answer in their head. I will count to 5 and then have the student share with the person sitting next to them, so then they can work in small groups. And then I will give them 5 seconds to share, and then I will have them call out their answer. I will say, everyone tell me what they're called, and they will all reply, punctuation marks. If they are all correct, I will say, yes, you are correct. These 3 marks on the board are called punctuation marks. Punctuation marks are more than just lines and dots that we have to remember to put in our sentences, but are used to break up a sentence and provide meaning, create rhythm while reading, tell the reader how to read the sentence, and add expression. Does anyone remember what expression means? The teacher will call on a student to answer. Right, expression, if the student's right. Right, expression is when reading expression when reading means reading in a way that shows one's thoughts and feelings. So when we read with proper expression, it makes the story much easier to understand. I will then have the students take out their true-false hold-up cards and read the following statements, point to a question mark, this is a question mark, true, and hopefully they will all hold up their true-false cards, and I will do that for the rest of these. And if the answer is false, I would clarify the correct answer to the student. I then would remind them that it's important that we learn about punctuation marks so that we can be more fluent readers, which will also help us better comprehend our readings. There are many different forms of punctuation marks, but today we'll be focusing on the sentence ending punctuation marks. I will then pass out the punctuation labeling worksheet, which I will show at the end of my lesson. And say, as we work through the 3 sentences ending punctuation marks, I want you to follow along on your handout and fill it out as you go. You can see the section to write the name of the punctuation mark, write the definition and use of it, and then place it, or then write, and then a place to write an example. Sorry. I would start with a period and point to the period on the board so they can all see what it looks like, and say, everyone write on your handout next to the period. Give them time to write. Everyone points to the period and calls out period. Or I would say everyone point to the period and call out period. The class would then call it all out so they can practice saying it while looking at it, just get familiar with it. I would then say the period is a place at the end of a sentence that makes a complete statement. For example, if I say I went to the store today, or I like cheese. These are statements and a complete thought. It's important to remember that the statement has to be a complete thought. So everyone should have written in their period boxes that a period is a punctuation mark that is placed at the end of a sentence to make a statement. Teacher gives the students time to write, and now please use the box. Please complete the box by writing an example of a sentence that uses a period. I would then again give them time to write a sentence and ask 2 or 3 students to share their answers. Next, we have the exclamation point. I would point to the exclamation point on the board so that they can see specifically which one I am talking about. I would have everyone write exclamation point next to the symbol on their handout. Give them time to write. Then I would say, now everyone point to the exclamation point and whisper yell, exclamation point. And class would call out in a yelling, like a loud yell, like exclamation point. The exclamation mark or point is used when a person wants to express excitement, surprise, amazement, and other strong emotions, or to add emphasis to a statement. Please add to your handout under the definition section in the exclamation point box. Give them time to write again. When we read a sentence with our exclamation point at the end, we need to read it with emotion to show that the emotion or emphasis the reader is trying to get at. For example, if I'm very hungry, I would write I'm very hungry with an exclamation point, and I would write that on the board, and I would read it, I am so hungry. And I would read it, I'm sorry, I meant angry. I'm sorry, I just got confused. It says I would write I am so angry, and I would write I'm so angry on the board. I must be hungry. And then I would say I'm so angry, and I would read it with expression. And then I would say, let me hear how you would read this sentence with emotion, and let the class call out again, I am so angry, with their own expression. I would say, go ahead and write a sentence that uses an exclamation point as well. And when you are done, give me a thumbs up. Once everyone gives a thumbs up, we would move on to the question mark. I would say, I'm guessing that most of you know what a question mark is, right? It goes after A, and then I would allow them to yell out question. After a question, everyone please write question mark. After a question, correct, after a question. Everyone please write question mark next to the question mark on your handout. A question mark is used at the end of the sentence to show that a person is asking a direct question. Please write that on your handout. When we ask a question, we say them in a way that our speech goes up in the end so that you can recognize we're asking a question. For example, if I ask a person about their dog, it would sound like, how old is your dog? You can hear the way I said it sounds like I am seeking an answer from a person, where if I said, how old is your dog? You knew I am asking a question because I used the word how, but it didn't sound like a question. Please write an example of your question in the correct punctuation, with the correct punctuation in the box. And allow them time to write. I would then pass out the punctuation practice worksheet and say, now that we have covered the 3 sentence ending punctuation marks, we're going to do some practice with them. When I read the sentence out loud, please fill it in with the proper punctuation mark. The teacher would then read out the following sentences. The grass is green. Do you like ice cream? I love it so much. It is Tuesday. I get furious when I burn my toast. And then finally, for the after section, I would say, now that we have learned about punctuation marks and the importance that they have in how we read text, I'm going to have each of you come up to my desk and read 3 sentences to me. Remember, the punctuation will tell you how you should read the sentence, so be sure to be on the lookout for periods, exclamation points, and question marks, and read the sentence with the proper expression. If you are not a student at my desk, you should be working on completing the practice sentences on your handout. The handout has a section labeled bonus where you can create some of your own sentences if you're feeling up to it. If you finish those, please work on some silent reading from your silent reading choice books. Then one at a time, the teacher would call the students up and have them read the 3 sentences. The teacher will mark a check in the box if the student reads it with the proper expression, and X if they read it incorrectly. Sorry, I messed up so many of my words while reading that. It is late. But for assessment, the teacher will assess the punctuation practice worksheet for number of punctuation marks that they got correct. If they exceed the expectation, it would be 10 out of 10 correct, and they wrote 1 or more bonus sentence. Meets expectation is 7 to 10 correct and 1 bonus sentence, and approaching expectation is less than 7 correct with no bonus sentences. They will also be assessed on their spoken expression while reading the sentences to the teacher in the following way. Exceeds expectation, 3 out of 3 correct, and showed lot of expression. Meets expectation, 2 or 3 correct with moderate expression, and approaching expectations is 0 to 1 correct with little to no expression. For adaptations for ELL students or students with special needs, I would provide the labeling handout with the definitions already in them. So because I know sometimes that can take a long time to write, especially if I am not allowing them to copy it from the board, it would just be from my voice. So by providing the definitions, it would allow them to focus more on what I'm saying because they don't have to be focused on the writing. I also would provide a version of the punctuation practice with less sentences on it that they have to work through. For advanced and gifted students, I would provide them with an opportunity to complete an extra worksheet that would have longer and more complex sentences in it, such as a sentence that combines a period and a question mark, 2 sentences, but I would put them together for them. For my citations, I use the Common Core standards, and then the rest is my worksheets that the students would use. So the students would have these, they would be cut out so that they could hold them up one at a time. This is my punctuation mark or labeling paper. So they would label it, write the definition, and then write a sentence for each of them. This is my punctuation practice worksheet. They would read these are the ones the teacher would read aloud, where they would write the punctuation mark here. And then the following are the ones that they would work on their own, and section for bonus. These are the sentences that the students would read aloud to the teacher. The teacher would have this on their desk, and the teacher would come up and read it, and they would assess them using this. They would write the student's name and then give them an X or a check mark, depending on whether they read it with the proper expression or not. And that is my lesson.